Hello and welcome. My name is Elena, and today I'm going to introduce you to openSAP, some of the hidden gems in our platform, and some of the new learning formats. I'm a project manager within the openSAP team, but I also work in the infrastructure as well as in the operations team. You can connect with me using my Twitter account or SAP Community ID, and you will find all the information linked on the slide. For those of you who don't know openSAP, let me tell you a little bit about it. We started our platform as a MOOC learning platform, a massive open online course. And then we have extended the learning offering by adding podcast and microlearning, which is what I'm going to talk to you about in a second. The pillars of an enterprise MOOC and of the openSAP platform are as follows. Our platform is open for everybody. It means that you don't need to have an SAP ID or to be an SAP partner. You really just need to have a valid email address to register. And all the content is completely free, both for the course, microlearning, and podcast. We know that our main target audience are professionals, and we know how difficult it is to carve out time to learn during your busy schedule. So we try to create content that is usable during your day. This means, for example, having video lectures that are 10 to 15 minutes long, microlearning that's 2 to 12 minutes, and podcast that's around 30 to 60 minutes. It's very important to us to keep you engaged and motivated. That is why we try to offer you the highest possible quality in our content, as well as other neat features. For example, getting a digital badge and a record of achievement upon successful completion of a course. There is also the social learning aspect on our platform that shouldn't be forgotten. And this could be seen, for example, in the discussion forum. So you have the option of interacting with the SAP experts as well as with other peers. And speaking of social learning, I want to show you now one of the hidden gems that our platform offers, and that is the CollabSpaces. So what's a CollabSpace exactly? You have to imagine that it's like a virtual room within the openSAP course. It could be set as private or public, and within this CollabSpace, you will find some different functionalities. Some of these are known already, for example, the discussion forum that works exactly like the openSAP discussion forum. But then you have also text collaborations tool, video chat, and the options of sharing files. We have successfully used the CollabSpaces in some of the openSAP courses where we had team peer assessment. And for example, the enabling entrepreneurs to shape a better world and basic of design thinking. So why would you use a CollabSpace? Well, there are really different use cases. You could create, for example, a language community. We know that not everyone is an English native speaker. We have a huge Spanish community. We have also a lot of learners in Japan or in Russia. And sometimes it could be a little bit intimidating to post questions in the English discussion forum. So you could create a CollabSpace for the language that you feel comfortable in, and then use that to chat and interact with other peers. If you're a university professor, you could use a CollabSpace for your students. Say you want them to take a course, then you could create a CollabSpace there and have your little virtual classroom. You could support them, for example, while they do their additional exercises, answer their questions, or maybe ask them to do additional tasks. But now, enough about slides. Let me show you how this looks in the openSAP platform. So this is a standard course. As you can see here, this is our course homepage, and then there are all the tabs that you should be already familiar with. There is, for example, our Learning tab. In here you will find our video lectures, the self-test, the download page, and the weekly assignments. Then there is the discussion forum tab, our progress tab, and in here you will find a summary of what you have been doing during the course. So in this case, you can see I'm not really good. And at the bottom of the progress page, I'd like to remind you that you can download your final documents. And then there is the CollabSpace tab. So as you can see here, this course is running. There are already some CollabSpaces that have been created by some of the users. But I want to show you how to create a CollabSpace by yourself. So let's go on a test course that I just set up for you. you can just go on the tab, CollabSpace, and then create a new CollabSpace. You can give your CollabSpace a name, let's call it test, and you can add the description, a very meaningful one. And then you can decide whether the CollabSpace is set as private or public. So in this case, I'm going to leave it as private, as nobody will join anyway. You just click on the button and your CollabSpace is created. It's really that simple. You can find all the features that I've discussed already in the left side of the page, and I'm going to show you now some. There is the discussion forum. I don't think I need to explain much here. And there is our collaboration tool for text. It's called Etherpad, and it looks like this. You can type in anything. And you see already that whatever I'm typing is in green. So if you go on this side of the notepad, you will find how many people are currently editing the document, and you will see who am I and also which color I've been assigned to. So everyone can customize their color choice. Another really nice feature of Etherpad is the time slider. You can click on the clock and then you will see everything that happened since your last save of the version. So in this case, you can see I've deleted some things and retyped other stuff. You can return to the pad, and if you are happy with what you have seen, you can save the version so that the next person that comes will be able to see what happens from the moment I finish typing everyone. You can also share this pad in the formats that you see listed here. All right, let's go back to our CollabSpace. You have also the option of doing a video chat. And we have recently switched to a new tool called Jitsi Meet. This is an open source tool. So you don't need to have any previous account. You just can click on the button, as I'm doing just now, click on Go, and Jitsi Meet's open. So I'm going to close up the camera. And it has also a lot of features. So you have screen sharing, you have your chat, and you can raise your hands. So if you're discussing something and you don't want to interrupt. But what's really important is this little icon here where you can get your details. So you can copy those and post them. For example, you could create a post in your discussion forum and say, meet me, and you copy their Jitsi info, make it sticky so it appears on the top of the page and it's marked yellow, just like a sticky post. And then everyone can read that. Everyone in the CollabSpace, obviously, can read that. And then by clicking on the link, they can join your video chat. All right. So since I'm already on the platform, I'll just move on to the next topic, which is podcast. We had podcasts on openSAP for a while, but we didn't really have a space where you could find all the series that we had. And last year, we started a team that took care of creating this space for you, and then this page came up. You can reach this page on open.sap.com/podcast or sap.com/podcast. So let's have a look at it. You have here your podcast homepage where all the series are listed. The topic varies, as you can see. There are some HR topics, some business topics, SAP industries, partner podcasts, etc. You can sort out the language, choosing English or German, and you can sort the titles alphabetically. So let me open a random podcast. That's the openSAP Invite, our own podcast, of which the whole team is really excited and proud. And you will be directed to the podcast homepage. This page is important because it allows you to subscribe to the series, and I really do encourage you to do so. The reason why is that we don't send you an announcement every time that we post a new podcast episode. Otherwise, you will be spammed with emails. So the best way of knowing if there is a new podcast episode out there is really to subscribe to the series. You can also listen to the podcast using Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and TuneIn. You will always find on the top of the page the player with the latest episode available. And I want to show you now how an episode page looks like. So here you have the player and you have the information a little bit like a summary of what's going to be said in the podcast. You have your chapter navigation, which should make the navigation through the podcast episode easier. You have your share button. You can share the podcast on different social media. And obviously you can download your podcast. At the bottom of the page, you will find the show notes and a short biography of the speaker. The show notes are a really cool feature because let's say, for example, you're listening to the podcast while commuting or while jogging, then somebody mentioned something in the episode, for example, another interesting podcast title or an openSAP course that you might be interested in. Well, then you can just go back to the openSAP page and have a look at the show notes. I'm pretty sure you will find that reference listed in here. So you can just open the links and you will be redirected to the page that you're interested in. Going back to the homepage of the podcast, I want to show you the help desk button because this is the way that I would like you to give us feedback. So I know it's not very intuitive for now, but this is what's working. So you go on the help desk button, choose the category, podcast or microlearning, and then you can just write here your comments. And please feel free to share feedback. Maybe, for example, a topic you might be interested in or some technical features that you would like to see in the podcast. And you can do the same, as I said, also for microlearning, which is now a nice way of introducing you to my next and last topic, which is the microlearning. So we launched this with the SAP C4HANA team. And just in this May, we have added some new microlearnings for the SAP S4HANA series. And this is what I'm going to show you during this demonstration. So you select the SAP S4HANA and the player comes. So you will find first a teaser video here where it's explained why are we doing microlearning and how do you navigate the different videos that are there. And you do so by using the filters. So we filter by line of businesses, for example, finance or supply chain. And then you have your user experience, technology, and cross topics. Let's say, for example, I want to have a look at finance. You can see here a different video already popped out. And you have another way of filtering, which is getting started, expert's choice, and new arrivals. I do encourage you to use the new arrivals filter because in this way you will always know when a new video has been published. You can see here the video comes, and at the bottom of the page you will find the playlist. So there are different microlearnings here. Let's pick one. And the microlearning should launch. So we'll try to keep always the same structure within the presentation. So you will have a short intro where you will see what is the target audience, who is the presenter, and what is this microlearning about. Then you will have an agenda that goes a little bit deeper in the topics. And then there is a mixture of slides and presentation. And it's really important to us that the microlearning have as many demonstrations as possible. Obviously, it's not always possible because there are some microlearnings that are just an update on the latest products that are coming out, for example, and then there might not be a demonstration. But many microlearnings are very how-to focused, so task focused, and so it's good to have a demo. And most of the microlearnings do have a demonstration, so you can find it here. And then towards the end, you will have a slide with the key learnings. So you have kind of a summary for you to look at, and sometimes, not always, but sometimes there is additional learning resources that you can find here or related content that you can look at. At the bottom of the microlearning page, you will find another button that I do encourage you to click, and it's a button that sends you back to other openSAP courses that are relevant to your microlearning topic. In this case, you can see there is a filter preset for you with the SAP S/4HANA courses that are available, running or also on self-paced. All right, so let's move back to my last slide, because I really want to have a short wrap-up and a short summary of all the different formats that we have. So I've talked to you about enterprise MOOCs, podcast and microlearning. They differ in length, obviously. The enterprise MOOC are usually 2 to 6 weeks, podcast can be 30 to 60 minutes, and the microlearning is 2 to 12 minutes. They also offer different features. For example, the courses have video lectures, slides, transcripts, and final documents. Podcasts are obviously audio only, and the microlearning are basically videos. You would take a course whenever you're interested in exploring a larger topic. Our courses give you a context around this topic and allow you to deep dive in this topic that you're interested about. The storyline is clear and all the units build on each other, means that it will be really difficult for you to start on a week 3 of a course if you've never heard of this topic, because you should have the knowledge of week 2 and week 1. You can also test your knowledge in the course and earn the record of achievement and digital badge. In some of the courses, it's also possible to do some additional exercises to test the system yourself. The podcast instead is like a complementary offering to our MOOCs. So you have to think about it as a way to access this new learning. Meaning, for example, let's say I have no idea about AI, but I really would like to know something about it. Then you can just open a podcast on our platform and listen to an episode. The conversational nature of the podcast really makes it easy to understand some of the basic concept of the topic that you want to explore. And also, it's a really nice feature that you can just listen to it while doing other things, for example, commuting or jogging or whatever. The microlearning is a much shorter video and it's self-contained. For example, how to create bookmarks in an SAP Fiori Launchpad. It is also easy to browse through the playlist that I've shown you just a second ago. So this brings me to the end of my presentation. I would like to thank you all for joining, and I wish you a lot of fun in the rest of the event. Thank you. Goodbye.